Good morning, one and all. Welcome to the video lecture of Introduction to the DSP, that is Digital Signal Processing. Okay. In my previous video lecture, I have just started with the topic of digital signal processing and its basics. Okay, and what are the very basic things which are required for the DSP. Okay, the very first thing here is to understand what is digital signal processing. What I have told is you need to categorize, you need to divide the word digital signal and processing. Okay, digital we know because there are only two terms. One is analog, another is digital. And whenever the term the digital comes, either it can be zero or it can be one. Okay, then the second thing is what do you mean by the word called as a signal. A signal is something which carries the useful information. This is the definition of the signal. Okay, and processing is whatever the input you give to a system, the system will process the signal based on the input given by the user, and then it will give you the result. Okay, so these are the very three important definitions of the DSP. Now, the second thing when it comes to the DSP, the word term digital, okay, all the signals are not in digital in nature. Okay, by default, they all are analog in nature. The first fact. Okay, the second fact is once you want to process the digital signal, the very first step is you need to convert your analog signal to a digital signal. Okay, how to convert the analog signal into the digital signal is by making use of analog to digital converter. Okay, so the analog to digital converter is one device. Once you apply the analog signal, either it can be temperature or it can be your audio signal, video signal, okay, or any image, okay, or any data irrespective of your the parameter, irrespective of its size. Okay, once you apply to ADC, then it will give you the digitized data. Okay, and that digitized data will be processed using some processor. Okay, so this is the process how we define in DSP. Now, why I should go for DSP? The very basic question or the very important question to know here is why I should go for the DSP, because many ASPs are also available, like analog signal processing. Okay, what is the major difference between your analog signal processing and the digital signal processing? Okay, so the analog signal processing, it takes more time, the analysis becomes more complex. Okay, but in case of DSP, the analysis becomes more simple. Okay, easily you can go for analysis of the applied input signal. Okay, and the time required for the analog signal, okay, it will be more as compared to digital. That is the reason why the analog signal processors are not used when they are compared with the digital. Okay, and when you speak in terms of the accuracy of the digital is more when compared to the analog processors, okay, or the analog quantity. So that is the reason there is being transformed from the analog signal processor to the digital signal processor. Okay, and DSP has a very vast applications. Okay, there are huge applications of DSPs are now available in the electronics, or you take instrumentation, or you take in terms of the medical. Okay, so that is why we call it as a biomedical. Okay, so some of the examples of DSP in the field of biomedical are the analysis of biomedical signals. Okay, when you go for the diagnosis, okay, when you go for the patient monitoring, okay, then healthcare system and artificial organs. Okay, because nowadays whenever you go for any medical any hospital, okay, there you can see the plenty of electronic devices are available in the hospital, which are used to monitor your heart rate, monitor your heartbeats. Okay, which are used to diagnose the diseases what the person has. Okay, everything is in the digital form, not in the analog form. Okay, so that is the reason the biomedical signal processing is one of the field where many applications are being developed using that parameters, that is nothing but your DSP, signal processing parameter, signal processor. Okay, so one example here in the biomedical is the ECG. You know, many people know what is ECG, that is electrocardiogram. Okay, and whenever a person has the pain in the chest, okay, so we try to go for the ECG. You know what do you mean by ECG? ECG is the one where the ECG will give you the readings. okay, your heart rate readings, okay, heart rate readings, in the sense it will give you how much amplitude your heart is having, how much amount of the blood is being pumped from your heart. Okay, so based on the readings on the graph, okay, here you can see the figure in there's a graph here. Okay, so based on this rise and fall of your the signal, okay, we will evaluate, the doctor will try to evaluate those conditions, and it will give, and he will diagnose the patient. Okay, and how it is able to do, it is all because of DSP. It is all because of DSP. If I don't have such kind of the processors, if I don't have such kind of instruments, okay, then it becomes very difficult for a doctor to diagnose the cardiac patient. Okay, the another example here is the electroencephalogram. We call it as EEG. ECG is related to heart and EEG is related to brain. Okay, and what is the use of EEG is it will give you the signal information about the activity of the brain. Okay, so again it falls under the biomedical applications. Okay, you might have know the concept, like some people will have the brain tumor, right, the brain hemorrhage, many things happens. Okay, so many things happens. Okay, it can be your like brain hemorrhage people have, like because of some accidental what happens because of some accident also, it is also possible. Okay, so therefore there it is possible to know the signals, to know the information, to gather the information from the brain.